cylinders. So a cylinder is actually also a prism, but it's based on a circle. So the two very important things that we must now know is if you work out the surface area of a cylinder, it's going to be the base surface area. If it's a closed figure, as dit 'n geslote figuur is, dan is dit die basis en die topgedeelte en dis twee sirkels, so dis pi radius kwadraat. Plus, if you cut through this, I've explained that from grade 9 already. If you look at this textbook, I can make it a cylinder like this. So if you there's a circle, there's a circle. If you cut it open, it forms a rectangle. So as ek hom daarso gaan oop sny, dan maak hy 'n reghoek. And the breadth of the rectangle is the perimeter of the circle. So, ons weet dit ook nou al. So van graad 9 af leer juffrou dit vir jou al. So dis die omtrek van die sirkel, 2pi radius, maal met die hoogte. Okay, that's the surface area, and the volume of a circle or a cylinder is the area of the base, that's a circle, times the height. As easy as that. Goed, met dit 'n gedagte, dit ken ons al reeds. Kom ons gaan kyk. This is a picture of a glass. So this glass got a radius in the base, and there the glass is open at the top, because if you use a glass you drink out of it, and that's 3 centimeters, and the height of the glass is 12 centimeters. So die eerste vraag is daar, hoeveel water kan ek in milliliter in die glas aanhou? What's the capacity actually of the glass? Hoeveel water kan ek in hom gooi? Onthou net, and then the other learning book in the previous classes is you know that 1 cube centimeters equals 1 liter. That's very, very important. So 1 milliliter, not 1 liter, 1 milliliter. Very, very important, because they ask you to give the answer in milliliters. So I've got to change to convert the units. So maar kom ons gaan kyk net eers hoeveel water. So kyk net, hierdie is 'n soliede gedeelte, dis die bodem van die glas, that's solid, that piece. En so ons gaan net kyk na the capacity, meaning how much fluid will this glass hold. So ek gaan sê die volume is dan P radius square, and this is now the height. Let me just check this out, because the height that they give is just for this piece. Okay, so that's 12. So ek kan nou sê daai gedeelte is nie by nie. So I can multiply it with that height of 12, and then I can round it 2 decimal places. So that's going to give me 339,29 milliliter of centimeter to die derde mag, and because that's equal, I must convert it to milliliter because they ask the capacity. Hoeveel water hou hierdie glas? Next thing they ask, determine the surface area of the glass around the 2 decimal places, die buiteoppervlakte. Die buiteoppervlakte, en hulle het gesê, hierdie soliede gedeelte moet ons moet nie die dikte van die glas in ag neem nie. So we're going to just ignore that. It was an instruction. Instruction was, don't take the thickness of the glass into account, that piece. Goed, so as ons gaan kyk na die buiteoppervlakte, dan gaan ons eers kyk net na die onderste gedeelte. Because this piece. Because that's open, it's a glass. So ek het net, for the area, I've got only 1 circle, and then I've got this height, 1 circle, and then I've got this height, so I can add, and that's now the perimeter of the circle, 2p radius times the height. So ek het p maal met 3 kwadraat plus 2p, 3 maal met 12. So if I work that surface area out, it's going to be 254 minus 47 centimeter kwadraat, want is buite oppervlakte. Remember, grade 11s, if they gave you a thickness for this piece, you had to add it for the surface area and you had to subtract it for the volume. So, onthou as hulle vir jou hier 'n afmeting bygee. Hulle het hier gesê, don't take it into account. Okay. Kom ons gaan kyk na hierdie figuur. This is now a square-based prism. Can you see it? And out of this square-based prism, a cylinder was cut out of it and removed. So hierdie is 'n vierkant gebaseerde prisma en daar is 'n silinder uit hom uitgesny en verwyder. So die eerste vraag wat hulle nou hier vra is, hulle vra determine the volume of this figure that's left. Met ander woorde, ek moet die volume van hierdie figuur soos wat hy nou daar is, moet ek uitwerk. So that means I'm going to work out the volume of the square-based prism and I'm going to deduct the volume of the cylinder that's been cut out. So kom ons gaan kyk na die volume van hierdie vierkant gebaseerde prisma. So dit is die oppervlakte van die basis. So dit is 5 x 5, that's a square. 5 times 5, okay, times the height. Okay, that's the volume of the square-based prism. And I've got to subtract now the volume of the cylinder. Okay, the cylinder, they say that the diameter of the cylinder, that diameter over there, equals 2 centimeters. So the radius is then going to be equal to 1 centimeter. So let's work out the volume of that. The volume is area of the base. Well, that's the area of the base. That's P radius square. P radius equals 1 square times the height. That's also going to be 10 because it went right through. So now kan ek gaan en ek gaan sê 5 x 5 x 10, dit is 250 minus 10p. If you put that into your calculator, you will get 218, 58, and that's volume. So that's cube centimeters. Dit is die volume van die figuur soos wat hy hier staan. Now the next question is, they ask you, bepaal die totale sigbare buiteoppervlakte. Determine the total surface area that can be seen. Met ander woorde, as ek nou gaan kyk na hierdie figuur, soos wat hy daar is, dan kan ek sê, as ek die figuur optel en ek bestudeer om wat se buiteoppervlakte kan ek alles sien. Ek kan hierdie 1, 2, 3, 4 reghoeke sien. I can see 2 squares with a hole in it. So ek het 2 vierkante minus 2 cirkels. En dan sien ek ook die binnewande van hierdie cilinder. So the area I'm going to have, let's follow now very carefully. Surface area. 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles that's identically the same. So rectangles is length times breadth. So it's 5 times 10, 4 of them, plus. I've got the square, okay, the square is 5 times 5. So that's 25 minus, there's 2 of them, okay, so there's 2 of them, minus the area of the circle. Nou kom ons gaan kyk, die oppervlakte van die sirkel is pi radius kwadraat en die radius is 1 kwadraat. Okay, so I must deduct that whole. And then the next thing that I can see that I must add is the interior sides of this now cylinder. So die gate is oop, the two circles that's at the top and the bottom is now gone. There's nothing of that. But what can I see still? I can see the sides of that cylinder. So the only thing that I can see is the rectangle. If I cut that cylinder open, it's a rectangle. So it's the perimeter, 2p radius, times the height of T. That's the things that I can see. So as ek dit gaan uitwerk, dan het ek 4 mal 5 mal 10, that's 200, plus 225 minus P, okay, plus, and the radius over there is going to be 1. So ek het 2 mal 10 mal 1 is 20p. So if I put that into my calculator and I add it all up, dan gaan ek kry 306,55 en dit is in centimeter kwadraat, want dit is buite oppervlakte, centimeter square. And that's the visible surface area if I cut that cylinder out of that square-based prism. So ons gaan sulke vragies kry. Ons gaan sulke vragies kry, so kom ons maak seker dat ons leerwerk ken en dat ons dit baie mooi suksesvol kan beantwoord. Because if you know your learning work and you can use your little bit of peanuts there at the top, then this is very easy. Graad 11 sien julle dan môre vir nog buiteoppervlakte en volume som.